worked.
All right. Could you quickly go a little bit over your build and tell people what your build looks like on Black Panther, and maybe also how you would level him right now if you would prestige him?
Leveling will be hard because I haven't leveled him since launch. Back when
All
Limbo
right.
was
Yeah.
around. So that's really hard for me to say this is how I do it. But looking at different things with them, I'll go over a little bit of that. Uh, actually, the first tree of his I don't even use. I use one basic to apply a bleed, and that's it. And then one passive, which you get 1 point in anyways, and it's actually a really bad passive. All it does is applies a weaken whenever you hit with a basic attack, so that's not even really that strong. Most of his damage is going to come through knockdown strike, savage strike, and jungle snare. Those are my three main focuses. And here, if you see jungle snare, it's AoE dot, so it does damage. It provides a vulnerability, so everything takes 10% more, and it's got a crowd control element, which is kind of nice. So that's kind of a base damage there that helps. And you got knockdown strike, which is my main attack, and that's what you'll see me hitting with here. Critting for 70, 80k, brutal's over 100, and at a pretty fast rate there. And then savage strike is my big bleed applicator. You can see there's a bleed of 3 to 4k, and it hits a fair amount in between too. So those are kind of my three main attack skills. And then of course you've got the supplemental damage with your pets. As you see the Dora come in, and they do a pretty decent amount of damage at their max there. So those are my three main deals as far as damage and stuff. And then I run most of my other points in passes.
Right. So for some reason I cannot see your damage numbers. Let me see if I can change that quickly.
Oh, you're not able to see them? I wonder if they changed that.
Apparently they did. I just cannot see them, and I don't see an option to put other players' damage on there. So it's a bit of a shame. All right, maybe you could just show us how you finish this guy off. It won't take that too long, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Give me a sec here. I got a kid on my lap. Put him down for a sec.
I didn't really time it this time, but so if people wonder how they could test their abilities, this is the place to go.
Yeah, this is one thing. When there's two people in here, the time will go up because things scale when there's more people around in this game. So that's one of the things that it'll take me longer to bring it down now. But I'm also in a very heavy defensive gear set, so I'm not going to get my best time here, of course.
All right. People wonder if you could you do cosmics with Black Panther? I've seen that on the forums as well. Asked, what's your opinion there?
Use the cosmic item, or can you do cosmic terminals? Yeah,
cosmic terminals,
I do them all the time. Yeah, I can solo any one of them without dying. So you have to mindfully gear very defensively. You can probably inspect me and see that I have quite a bit of a pretty defensive minded gear set on.
All right. Yeah, I almost forgot that that was possible. So you have a Blessed Advanced Kung Fu Training Sequence, White Suit Jacket. I don't think people can see that through my UI. Cosmic Doctor Doom, Blessed Advanced Crystal, Pimp Shrinking, 442 Subterranea. Do you prefer that over the dot one? Does the dot one not really scale well?
Yeah, none of the damage ones really scale well. The Relic of Subterranea scales really well. As you can see, I have 442 of them and have over 1,000 defense, so that's a pretty big boost there.
Yeah, I see. Alright, and you use also health, defense, health regen. There we go. You got an Excalibur. I asked about it earlier. What do you think of the Gungnir compared to Excalibur? Which one would you advise?
For Black Panther, I would go Excalibur. The 1,000 defense actually makes a pretty big difference. And it doesn't seem like much, but the 50 life on hit even helps, quite a bit. So those are things that are going to help a lot with survivability. And for my build, going with a Gungnir is only about a 2% DPS increase over Excalibur, so it's not really that big a difference there either. So for Black Panther and a lot of heavy melee builds, I would probably go Excalibur. For most range builds, I'd probably go Gungnir at this time. Although, there's always the people that just run M-Cran and use them to wipe out waves of stuff in X defense, but I know Doomsaw brought up yesterday that they're looking at changing that one a fair bit.
All right, so that's not going to be your best choice again. Do you think that, because there is a huge itemization in the works where 2 new people have been hired to go specifically through all the gear, do you think that the Norn zones will become good, or is there too little information at this time?
Well, there's 2 things that would have to happen for Norn zones to be good. First, they have to redo the attribute system. The way that it works out right now, if you gain 5% damage, which is really what you do when you go from strength 4 to 5 or whatever, you're only gaining at that point the equivalent of 200 damage rating. So that's really not that much. Comparable to, Excalibur, where I'm getting 800 damage rating, 400 crit, and, all that. So, versus with Nornstones, you're getting about 4. The nice thing about Nornstones is the plus skills is worth a fair bit of damage, but it still doesn't quite match up. So, unless they change the attribute system or the item change, either of those could make that a viable option for sure.
All right. Cool. So that's Black Panther. Let's zoom out a little bit more. What do you think of the? There is some other new stuff in the game as well, which is the rune system. What do you think about that at this moment in time?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
The rune system and the rune words. What do you think of that implementation?
I like the rune word system. It's got a lot of room to grow. It's got some customization options that weren't available before. I'd like to see some different options in the rune words. A lot of them are kind of similar. Like the only ones with health also have defense or usually have melee or, things like that. So some of those, some different variances, and that will come as they add more runes to the rune words to the system, I'm sure.
All right. Yeah. So it's what I personally like is that every time they implement something new, it's always going to make your character stronger, right? I mean, they're at Captain America, the movie, we're going to see team up, so it means you can fight with 2 people or get another passive buff, or at least get some help. They're talking about Stark Tech items and even further stuff to add, and it's always making your character stronger. I really like that how that works.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell in the UI they've still got a couple more slots they can put items, and they're definitely working on those as well as trying to improve the existing ones and things like that. So they're definitely hard at work trying to make it a good game for sure, and that's something that I don't think anybody can really dispute is the kind of effort that they've put in to improve the game since launch, and it showed. It still has its issues, but it's definitely getting a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, about the game, it's better right now. What do you think of the current end game? Because it changed a little bit. You can do the cosmic terminals now. They added Holosim, which still needs some tweaking. What do you think would be other great additions that they can add to make that more fun?
Well, we all know raids are coming, and that'll help a lot. I think the cosmic terminals aren't necessarily where they could or should be yet. They're hard. They're a nice challenge that the game was kind of lacking, but I don't think the reward for it is quite worth it. I mean, if you want to go get the new Gem of the Curse or something, you're actually probably better off just running him on green or red because you can run through so much faster. I don't think they've got the drop rates tuned quite right on that. And it's a great place to go in and get cosmics for slot 1 through 5, but most people that are geared up and capable of doing that content regularly don't necessarily need a lot of cosmics per se. So I don't know that quite matches. The rings are there, but they're pretty rare drops, so that's kind of hard. And I haven't really noticed a great drop rate on cosmic medallions that would make me want to farm there versus in a red terminal that I can do much faster again. So I think they need to tune the loot a little bit with that, and I actually wouldn't mind if Cosmics were slightly harder, so that it would require more of a group effort rather than, you know, just a top-in solo hero. But that's just my thoughts on it. But I think it's an okay addition, and with proper tuning, it could be good. I mean, right now, X defense is still probably your best way to get most of your loot. And I think most people are still heavily farming that. Seems to be the best place for runes, uniques, and all that kind of stuff. So I think there needs to be some variance in the loot, but I think the options in game would be good if the rewards were appropriate.
All right, yeah, they've been talking a lot about the loot system. They're changing that the coming weeks. They also said like the specific artifact drops that they want to increase them a little bit, and get more non-specific hero uniques in on top of the getting uniques for your character. What do you think of the balance? Well, what I personally feel, I don't know if you have the same, is that as soon as you get the unique at level 60, you're done for that slot. Of course, you can re-roll it a few times and try to get it a better roll, but there is, at least on the heroes I've seen, there is not many cosmics that are better. Do you think they should improve the cosmics, or what do you think there?
It depends on the hero, but in a lot of cases there are cosmics that are better. It just the odds of getting them are extremely astronomical. But there is still that chase, and there's also, like you said, getting the better unique. You know, there's a wide variety of roles on those uniques. I spent a lot of time searching for upgrades for those uniques, whether it be grinding out credits to re-roll them, you know, through the crafting system, or just finding more of them. So I think there's still definitely a pretty good grind for those. There's a pretty wide variance in there, enough that makes you, you know, I don't in any way feel that you're done as soon as you get a unique in every slot, because there's just a lot more that you can still improve a hero.
All right, yeah. Also interesting to note, I think the relics, you got them at 400, which is pretty impressive. I think my highest is like 300 something. Theoretically, you could get that up 700 more HP, which is pretty significant. I mean, for me, that's like still, math, but do like 5% or something. I mean, that's still pretty. That's pretty impressive, 5% HP boost. So yeah, there's still some stuff to go.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of things to do. If you want to focus on one hero, you can do that for quite a while. Once you get to the top end, it kind of becomes rare to see an upgrade, and that's kind of tough. But that's kind of the way that all these games go, you know, along those regards. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, then it really depends if you really want to continue, or you just try another hero, or maybe another game. That's up to people. At least it's good that it's there. And also, what I wanted to show today is that you could actually just test that and test your abilities, test your skills with this time to kill thing. And I'm not sure if everyone knew that, because in a game like this, you could say, okay, I'm 60, I'm done. You could say, okay, I got all uniques, I'm done. But you could, if you still like the gameplay, you could just go on and try to see. Learn more about your character and just try to see if you could finish it off faster. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of variety, and there's a lot of different heroes, and I think build diversity amongst a single hero is a little bit lacking, but because there's so many heroes, you can just kind of switch the hero that you're playing if you want to play a different style. So hopefully at some point, you know, the diversity comes, and some heroes have a little bit of it, you know, some don't, but hopefully we'll see some good changes with that.
All right. While we are going to wrap this up, I think I want to know if there are still more questions. I got one question from Cross, who asks about the Phoenix. I'm not sure if you know too much about the Phoenix, but this question is, how good would a non-Phoenix build be for Gene, and what skills should he look into? Do you know anything about that?
As far as I know right now, I don't play Phoenix a lot, but I do know some people that do, and non-Phoenix is just not very workable right now, and I think they're working on getting that changed, and probably when you see her rework, you'll see that addressed a lot better. It's unfortunate because right now she's got a brand new costume coming out that Doomstar previewed, and she doesn't really seem to show off her costumes very well, since she's always on fire because everybody plays the Phoenix form.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right. So I remember you've been playing Scarlet Witch as well. Is it what other heroes are still there? If you want, you could show them your gear. That's always pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, definitely.